You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done watching Child's Play, the remake, the 2019 remake. Now, right off the bat, this is not going to be a spoiler review. I can talk a little bit more about spoilers on the Perp Show coming up this Tuesday. Yeah, I think it's Tuesday, the 25th, whatever the 25th is. And stay tuned. I have an actual time for that, but I will talk about spoilers then. But with all that being said, let's get right into this review. So we got the Child's Play remake. Very, very, anticipated horror movie remake to come out. A lot of different opinions, a lot of different, people have different vibes with this movie, because going into this, before I saw the trailers, I didn't really like how Chucky looked, but I was cool with Mark Hamill playing, Chucky. That was a really interesting aspect to the casting. The casting in this, let me get that out the way, I thought did a really good job. I liked all the characters for the most part. And I would say this was a pretty straightforward horror movie. It has a lot to live up to, but I think it can stand on its own. This remake I thought was very entertaining. It was eerie, creepy, and it had that humor in it. Not too much humor where like they're cracking jokes, but it has humor in it. And let me talk about Andy before I get into Chucky real quick. Andy in this is a savage. I like Andy in this version of Child's Play, because in the original he was always kind of whiny. He did kind of grow out of that, but right off the bat, I really like what they did with this Andy character. Very different, very of this time. And they really focus on, how technology has completely taken over our lives. Like, you literally have a scene where, this dude's going to hug his kids, and one kid has a cell phone in the hand, and the other one has like an iPad. It shows you how connected we are, and just how connected we are to this technology, and we fail to realize what's going on in real life. They really make those parallels, and it really makes sense for this movie, because Chucky in this, instead of being an evil spirit, he's just AI learning from his environment and the people he's around. Like, there's a scene, actually it's not really a spoiler, but there's a scene where they're all watching like a horror movie, and Chucky's looking at this and he's kind of analyzing it. And I've just really liked the tone of this movie, how it starts off. They kind of get right to it. It has kind of like an action feel to it a little bit. Like an action vibe, how it just like throws you right into it. They don't waste no time like setting up Chucky's backstory and stuff. Like, shit happens, this happens, and then boom, we're into the story. I really appreciate that. I like that the world that they're building. It's definitely got me interested in a sequel, because we see that I could see pretty much in a sequel where they're going to touch on more of the psychological damage that this Chucky has done to Andy, maybe. It's really interesting, because this is a very different Andy and this is a very different Chucky. Like, from the way he talks to the way he's like interacting with different characters, and the kills in this are very creative. They do cut away from certain kills, which kind of took me out. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I hope when they do a sequel, they don't cut away from certain deaths, like certain kills, because that really makes an impact with a movie like this. But overall, like, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun. It was entertaining. I laughed. You know, I was fucking creeped out. This Chucky was very creepy, bro. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna say he's better than, you know, Don Mancini's or Brad Dourif's portrayal of, you know, Chucky. I'm not gonna say that. It's too early for that. But I definitely think Mark Hamill's Chucky stands on its own. Very interested to see what they do with the sequel, if they end up having plans for a sequel. Maybe I can make a prediction video down the line for that. Let's see. So we talked about, like, the story. The story is pretty basic. You know, it's nothing too deep, but I like what they did with this remake. It didn't look like they were just throwing a bunch of shit together and whatnot. Even though some shots did look kind of weird with, like, Chucky, you know, certain scenes with Chucky kind of look weird, but I understand what they're going for. But the whole animatronics of Chucky, how, like, they didn't want to really use CG. They did with certain aspects, but they didn't use, they used practical effects still. I really like that. Just the way Chucky interacts with the different technologies. It's just, I really like how it blends a lot of things together. As far as, you know, how I said, how we're so connected with technology that we don't realize what's going on around us. We're not aware of our you know, our situations. We're too connected to these devices, these things, you know. So a lot of people, like, phones are their lives. You know, you take a phone away from them, then it was really dope to see that. I really highly recommend that you see this movie, especially if you're a Child's Play fan. I think you could appreciate this. I know some people that are hardcore fans might not like this, or some people that not into this genre at all might not like this. I don't know, but to each his own. I thought it was a cool movie. I would definitely go see this again. But stay tuned for tomorrow, because I'll have my Toy Story review up. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at PerpMinded, and I'll check y'all out in the next video. Peace.
They keep dreaming, man, but you know, sometimes you gotta wake up from a dream and go get it. You get out of it what you put into it. The game is so simple, y'all just ain't listening. If you're chasing your dream, you're not running fast enough. Run faster. You gotta work for greatness, man. You gotta work. You gotta work hard just to be good. Fuck being great. So imagine greatness. We're going for greatness.